You ever imagined walking alone through an abandoned hospital at night, feeling every shadow, watching every step you take, hearing footsteps behind you that are not yours, wondering if you will ever make it out alive? Tonight you are about to enter a world that chills even the bravest hearts, a place where the walls whisper secrets of the past and every corridor hides stories you would never believe. And tonight you will discover one of them, a hospital forgotten by time, a hospital cursed by unknown rituals, a hospital where a mother and her daughter once dared to enter seeking answers and instead found terror so real it would change everything forever. From the moment they stepped through the creaking gates, the air felt heavy, as if carrying memories of screams and sorrow, and you can almost feel it yourself: the cold touch of the wind brushing your face, the distant echo of a door slamming shut, and the faintest whisper calling a name that is not yours. The story you are about to hear will make your skin crawl and your heart beat faster. And yet, it is not just about fear, it is about courage. It is about the moment when you realize that sometimes facing the unknown is the only way to truly see the truth. And as you listen closely, you will walk beside them, down dimly lit hallways, past broken windows, past overturned furniture, past shadows that move in ways your eyes cannot follow. And every step you take will make you wonder what lurks around the next corner and what secrets are buried under layers of dust and darkness. And the strange feeling that you are not alone will grow stronger with every second, as if the hospital itself is alive, breathing, watching, judging, waiting. And you will understand why some doors were never meant to be opened, why some rooms were left untouched, why some voices should never be heard. And yet here you are, listening and imagining and feeling the fear that the mother and daughter felt that night, knowing that one wrong turn could lead to something they could never escape. And as you imagine their footsteps echoing against cracked walls and their hearts pounding in the silence, you will feel the tension building, the kind of tension that makes your muscles tighten, your breath shorten, your mind race, and your imagination run wild. And just when you think you understand the danger, when you think you can predict what might happen, the hospital will prove that it has its own rules, that fear can come from the smallest shadow, from the quietest whisper, from a bundle of cloth lying innocently on the floor, hiding the unimaginable. And as the night deepens, as the storm rages outside, as the rain hits the broken windows, you will feel that pull that draws you further into their story, that makes you unable to look away, that makes every sound, every shadow, every memory of your own fears come alive. Because what they discovered was not just a story of ghosts or curses, it was a story that touches everyone who has ever felt vulnerable, who has ever wondered what lies beyond the safe walls of their home, who has ever asked themselves, could I survive if the impossible came knocking? And tonight you will walk that path with them. You will feel that fear and that courage, and you will understand why some places are best left alone, yet why some truths demand to be uncovered. So take a deep breath and prepare yourself, because the haunted hospital is waiting, and once you enter, there is no turning back. Hello, my name is Mary, and I have been sharing mysterious and terrifying stories for many years, stories that take you to places you would never dare to go, stories that make you feel the fear, courage, and curiosity of the characters, as if you were walking beside them. I have explored countless haunted places, uncovered forgotten legends, and spoken to people who have experienced the unexplainable, and today I am here to guide you through one of the most chilling tales you will ever hear. This story is not just about ghosts or haunted hospitals, it is about courage and attention even in the most frightening situations. And as we walk through the abandoned halls together, you will see that fear can be faced and lessons can be learned at any age. So listen closely, feel the tension, feel the suspense, and let yourself become part of the story, as if you were there, experiencing every step, every whisper, every shadow that follows the mother and daughter as they uncover secrets that were hidden for decades. And just like you, I will be discovering these mysteries moment by moment, sharing with you not only what happens, but how it feels, how the fear grips the heart, how the courage grows, and how even the darkest night can teach us something valuable. And by the end of this story, you will not only have experienced one of the most terrifying tales ever told, but you will also understand that life is full of challenges that can be faced with attention, courage, and the wisdom gained through years of living. And now that we are connected, you are ready to follow me deeper into the hospital, to see what awaits in the shadows, to hear the whispers that call out, and to uncover the truth that lies beyond every locked door, every abandoned room, every hidden corner. So hold on tight and prepare to step further into the cursed hospital horror tale. You might think that hospitals are safe places filled with care and healing, but this hospital was different. From the moment you step inside, you realize that something is not right. The walls seem to breathe, the shadows move in ways that make no sense, and the silence is heavier than any noise you have ever heard. The mother and daughter soon discovered that the old building held secrets that no one ever spoke about, and that what looked like a normal hospital was actually a place where rituals had been performed long ago, leaving echoes of fear that lingered. In every corner the first strange signs appeared as a cold draft brushed their necks, a whisper of a name not theirs, a door that slammed shut behind them without warning, and every instinct told them to run, yet they could not turn back because curiosity had gripped them tightly, and each step they took revealed more contradictions. What should have been familiar felt alien, what should have been comforting felt threatening, and the hospital seemed almost alive, watching, judging, and testing their courage. The air was thick with tension, with every creak of the floorboard, every flicker of the lights, every distant sound amplifying the fear. And just when they thought they could anticipate what would happen next, the hospital surprised them. A bundle of cloth lay on the floor, innocent at first glance, yet it radiated a presence they could not ignore, and as they approached it, the shadows seemed to shift as if warning them to stay away. But something drew them closer, and that is when they realized that this was not just a haunted building, it was a trap for the unsuspecting, a place that would reveal its darkest truths only to those who dared to face them. And in that moment, the mother and daughter understood that everything they thought they knew about safety and danger was about to be turned upside down, that the hospital would challenge not only their courage, but their very perception of reality. And as they prepared to confront what lay ahead, you feel that anticipation with them. The tension builds, the fear deepens, and the story moves into a realm where nothing is predictable, nothing is safe, and every step is a choice that could change everything forever. The mother and daughter stepped cautiously into the dimly lit corridor, their hearts beating fast, their breaths short and shallow. The floor beneath them creaked with every step, and the smell of dust and decay filled the air. The hospital felt alive, as if it were aware of their presence, watching their every move. The mother held her daughter's hand tightly, feeling both fear and determination. They were here to uncover a mystery that had haunted the town for decades. The stories of disappearances, whispers of shadows, and the strange bundle of cloth left in the old hospital had drawn them here, and as they moved deeper, the rooms became darker, the shadows longer, and every corner seemed to hold a secret they could not yet understand. The mother noticed markings on the walls, faded symbols that hinted at rituals long forgotten, and she felt a shiver run down her spine. The daughter saw the remnants of old furniture, overturned papers scattered, and what looked like footprints leading nowhere. They followed the trail cautiously, their curiosity pushing them forward, their fear warning them to turn back. But there was no turning back now. With each step, they felt the pull of the hospital, its history wrapping around them like a living thing. And then they heard it, a faint whisper, soft at first, almost indistinguishable from the wind, calling a name that was not theirs. Their eyes darted to the shadows, moving where no shadow should move, and the mother whispered, "We must be careful." The daughter nodded, feeling both terror and excitement, as if the fear itself was teaching them to notice every detail, to pay attention to everything around them. The bundle of cloth lay ahead on the floor, small and unassuming, yet emanating a presence they could not ignore. They approached slowly, hearts racing, hands trembling, and in that moment the hospital seemed to hold its breath, waiting for them to discover what it hid for decades. The story of the mother and daughter was now intertwined with the hospital itself. Every step, every heartbeat, every shadow becoming part of the tale that would unfold. And as they reached for the bundle, a sudden noise behind them made them jump. Their instincts screamed run, but something stronger pulled them back to face what lay before them. The mystery was about to reveal itself, and you feel the same tension, every step, every sound, every whisper, making your imagination run wild and preparing you for the next stage of the story, where the terror grows, the discoveries deepen, and the hospital shows its true nature. As the mother and daughter unfolded the bundle of cloth, a strange energy seemed to ripple through the air. A chill ran down their spines, and the shadows in the room shifted in ways that made their eyes widen. They found inside an assortment of old objects, a small carved figure, ancient papers tied with a faded ribbon, and a scent of incense that had long burned away yet lingered faintly in the air. The daughter reached out to touch the papers, her fingers trembling as if drawn by an invisible force. And the moment she did, a whispering voice filled the corridor, calling names that had not been spoken for decades. The mother grabbed her daughter's hand tightly, pulling her back, but it was too late. The hospital was alive in a way they could not have imagined. Doors slammed on their own, the lights flickered, and the shadows stretched, forming shapes that resembled human figures moving just beyond their vision. They ran down the corridor, their hearts pounding, every sound amplified, every creak of the floorboard, every gust of wind sounding like footsteps following them. And as they turned a corner, they saw writing on the walls, symbols that glowed faintly in the darkness, telling a story of rituals and warnings of those who had dared to enter before them. They realized that this was not random chaos, that the hospital had a history that demanded respect and caution, yet their curiosity would not let them leave. The carved figure seemed to pulse with energy, and they understood that uncovering its Secrets was the key to escaping the nightmare, yet each step they took deeper into the building brought more questions than answers. The temperature dropped sharply, their breath forming clouds in the air, and the feeling of being watched intensified. They stopped in a large room filled with broken furniture and debris. The shadows seemed to gather in the corners, eyes appearing in the darkness, watching every movement. The daughter picked up the small carved figure, its eyes glowing faintly, and the room seemed to respond. The floorboards groaned, the walls whispered, and a sudden gust of wind blew papers into the air, revealing drawings of faces that looked eerily familiar to them, faces of those who had vanished over the years. The mother felt a pang of dread, realizing that the hospital was keeping memories of the past alive as a warning to anyone who entered without caution. And yet, despite the fear, they could feel the lesson forming, the attention to detail, the courage to move forward even when terrified, and the bond between them was what kept them grounded. As they navigated through the rooms, they saw shadows moving independently, doors opening to reveal empty corridors, windows shattering as if something outside wanted to get in, and the noises became louder, a cacophony of whispers, footsteps, and distant cries echoing through the halls. The mother reminded her daughter to stay close, to trust her instincts, and to notice everything. The daughter nodded, her eyes wide, every sound, every shadow, every movement embedding itself in her memory. And as they approached what seemed to be the heart of the hospital, the presence of the supernatural grew stronger. The bundle of cloth, now empty, yet its energy still lingering, the carved figure guiding them silently, and the realization hit them that the hospital was a puzzle, a test, a place where only those who paid attention and faced their fears could survive. And as the tension escalated and the suspense grew, the hospital revealed more of its dark secrets, strange symbols glowing faintly, distant laughter echoing, and shadows coalescing into forms that challenged everything they thought possible. And you feel this with them, every heartbeat, every whisper, every shadow building anticipation, fear, curiosity, and an unstoppable urge to continue discovering the truth behind the cursed hospital. The mother and daughter reached the central hall of the hospital, a massive room with broken windows allowing moonlight to cast long, eerie shadows across the floor. The air was thick with tension, and the sound of distant whispers grew louder. Each shadow seemed to move independently, almost as if the building itself was alive, observing them, judging them, testing their courage, and every instinct screamed to run, but they could not leave, now not when the truth was so close. The daughter clutched the carved figure, its energy pulsating, her heartbeat matching the rhythm of the strange noises that echoed through the corridors. And then it happened, a door slammed shut behind them, cutting off their path. The lights flickered violently, and the shadows around them grew dense, forming shapes that resembled faces twisted in agony and silent screams. The mother whispered, "We have to face it together." The daughter nodded, feeling terror and determination intertwining. As they stepped forward, every step heavy with fear and every breath a reminder of the danger they were in, the walls themselves seemed to close in on them, whispering names, memories, and warnings from decades past. A cold gust of wind blew through the hall, papers scattered, revealing drawings and symbols that pulsed with a faint glow. The carved figure pointed towards a corner, and they realized that what they had feared the most was waiting there, an apparition of a figure draped in shadows, its eyes empty, yet filled with centuries of sorrow. It reached out silently, and the mother instinctively stepped in front of her daughter, blocking the path, her heart racing, her courage shining through despite the paralyzing fear. The daughter took a deep breath and followed her lead. Together they confronted the presence, facing the terror that had haunted the hospital for years. And as they stood united, the figure wavered, the shadows twisted, and the whispers grew into a crescendo of voices screaming names. Lost in time, the temperature dropped sharply, their breath visible, every exhale mingling with the tension that filled the room. And in that moment they understood that the hospital was testing more than just fear, it was testing their attention, their courage, and the strength of their bond. And just as it seemed the shadows would overwhelm them, a sudden calm swept through the hall. The figure slowly dissipated, the whispers softened into echoes, and the lights steadied, revealing the room in a state of eerie peace. The mother and daughter looked at each other, hearts pounding, every muscle tense, every nerve alive, and they realized that the nightmare was not just about fear, it was about facing the unknown together, trusting instincts, paying attention to every detail, and standing strong even when everything seemed impossible. And as they moved forward, every step felt lighter, yet the tension remained, a reminder that the hospital had shared its story, that the confrontation had changed them, and that the lessons of courage, attention, and unity were something they would carry forever. And you feel that with them, every heartbeat, every shadow, every whisper connecting you to their journey. As the climax unfolds, the terror peaks, and the ultimate lesson begins to form in the mind of anyone who listens and imagines themselves walking those haunted halls. After facing the heart of the hospital, the mother and daughter felt a change within themselves. The fear that had gripped them so tightly now transformed into a deep understanding, a clarity born from courage and attention. The shadows no longer seemed threatening, but reminders of lessons learned. The whispers had softened into echoes of wisdom, and every step they took forward felt guided by the knowledge that they had survived what most would never dare to confront. They realized that the hospital was not just a place of terror, but a teacher showing them that even in the darkest moments there is power in facing fears together, that courage grows when shared, and that attention to detail can reveal truths hidden from the careless and the distracted. The mother looked at her daughter and smiled, a mixture of relief, pride, and awe for the strength they had discovered within themselves. The daughter returned the smile, knowing that their bond had been strengthened and that the experience would stay with them forever. As they walked through the final corridors, the hospital seemed to acknowledge their bravery, the shadows receding, the air feeling lighter, the distant whispers fading into silence, and they understood that surviving was not about escaping, but about learning to navigate the unknown, trusting instincts, and embracing the courage that comes from experience and connection. Every door they passed, every room they left behind now held a story, not of terror alone, but of transformation. A story that showed that even the most frightening situations can teach lessons that resonate long after the fear has ended. And as they stepped out into the cold night air, the mother and daughter took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the hospital lift from their shoulders and knowing that the journey had changed them forever, that their courage had been tested, their attention sharpened, and their bond unbreakable. And you feel that with them, every heartbeat, every shadow, every echo of fear giving way to understanding, clarity, and the powerful realization that facing the unknown can bring wisdom, strength, and a sense of accomplishment that lasts a lifetime. The story of the mother and daughter teaches us that courage and attention are powerful tools. No matter your age, even at 65 or older, you can face challenges that seem impossible by focusing on every detail, by trusting your instincts, and by standing strong alongside those you care about. Fear becomes manageable and lessons become clear. The hospital showed that danger is not always visible, that shadows and whispers can hold meaning, and that the most important strength comes from within, from experience and from connection with others. And you can apply this in everyday life. Pay attention to what surrounds you. Do not dismiss small signs. Listen to your intuition and approach challenges with courage, even when the outcome is uncertain. Remember that every obstacle can teach something valuable, and that facing fears directly can transform them into wisdom and confidence. You feel this with the mother and daughter. Their terror turned into understanding, their fear transformed into courage, and the experience became a lifelong lesson, showing that no matter your age, you can learn, grow, and conquer situations that once seemed impossible. And as you carry this lesson with you in your own life, you realize that the story was never just about a haunted hospital. It was about you. It was about courage, attention, connection, and the incredible ability to face the unknown and emerge stronger, wiser, and more confident than before. If you enjoyed this story, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with friends who love mysteries and ghost stories. And right now on the screen, you can see another incredible video waiting for you. Click and continue the adventure, discover more terrifying tales, and keep exploring the unknown together with me, Mary. Every story you watch here will not only entertain you, but also inspire courage, attention, and curiosity in your everyday life. So comment below your thoughts and experiences. Tell me what scared you most or what lesson you learned, and remember to always follow YouTube guidelines when interacting. Your support makes it possible for me to bring you more high-quality stories for all generations. And as we end this video, take a deep breath, appreciate the courage of the mother and daughter, and remember that fear can teach you strength, that attention can reveal hidden truths, and that even at 65 or older, you can learn, grow, and face challenges that once seemed impossible. Thank you for watching, for being part of this journey, and for letting yourself feel the suspense, the fear, and the lessons that come from stepping into the unknown. Until the next story, when we will explore more mysteries, more courage, and more unforgettable adventures together.